Remove all labels and structures from the bag. Organize them by type. Place the laminated labels in the correct location on the board. Make sure to have resting membrane potential, depolarization, repolarization, and hyperpolarization separate. Do not place them on the board yet. Place the red toothpicks across the sodium channels. Place the blue toothpicks across the potassium channels. And place the yellow toothpicks across the calcium channels. Place the synaptic vesicles filled with acetylcholine in the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron. Keep one acetylcholine to the side. Place the calcium ions outside the calcium channels on the axon terminal. Take 2 sodium ions and place them in the synapse for later. Take another sodium ion and your extra acetylcholine and place them outside the sodium channel on the dendrite of the presynaptic neuron. Decide as a group in a resting neuron where to place sodium and potassium ions to correctly establish the resting membrane potential. Once you have decided, place the sodium and potassium ions along the axon. Additionally, place the positive and negative symbols to represent the overall resting membrane potential. Place the resting membrane potential label along the axon. Once you have completed this, have your teacher check your labels and placement of ions. Once checked, you may remove the laminated labels except for resting membrane potential, depolarization, repolarization, and hyperpolarization. Decide as a group which electrical event will initiate the nerve impulse, where it will originate, and in which direction it will travel. Place the correct arrows in the correct location. After correct placement of the graded potential along the dendrites, let's review how it was originally created. Using the acetylcholine and sodium you already placed at the top of the dendrite, demonstrate how the graded potential was triggered. Show the accumulation of the graded potential at the axon hillock. Assuming threshold has been reached, demonstrate the next step in the process. Resting membrane potential is no longer the correct label. Place the correct label to represent the condition of the neuron. In addition, change the charges if necessary. Decide as a group which electrical event has been initiated and place the arrow along the axon. Demonstrate the propagation of this electrical event through the next 2 sodium channels by the movement of ions, arrows, charges, and labels. Before we go any further, we need to reverse the effects of the initial depolarization. Determine as a group what stage that is called. Demonstrate the changes that occur to the first two sodium channels and the first potassium channel and ions, and place the correct charges on this region of the membrane. Pause for a moment and look at the differences between the channels, ion distribution, and charges between the depolarized and repolarized sections of the membrane. Demonstrate the propagation of the action potential through the final two sodium channels by the movement of ions, charges, arrows, and labels. Show the repolarization of the next sodium and potassium channel by moving gates, ions, labels, and charges. After moving your repolarization label, determine as a group what follows repolarization along the membrane. Place the label on the axon. Return your attention to the axon terminal to finish the process. As depolarization moves into the axon terminal, demonstrate the results all the way through to the postsynaptic membrane. Sodium-potassium pumps are then used to restore the rusty membrane potential.